that was loud. So for those of you who are just tapping in now, turning on now, um, we just listened to part two of Sid's recording in the Washington lecture of the three principles. Right before I turned it on, I had wonderful experience, and the people on with me now were letting me launch in. So, because this experience I had really illustrates what Sid was talking about, what he always said. So here's what happened. I found myself, and a couple of you anyway know that I've had this recent mailing glitch, which created like a cascade of glitches along the way. And so, and I've got like just a few days before a seminar I'm doing. And so, anyway, the part of this that I want to point out is about overwhelm and feeling that really as the signal. The feeling is the signal that says, man, you got to put this aside. So I haven't felt this in a long time, to tell you the truth. That feeling of, I guess, some people would call it anxiety, overwhelm. There's another word I would put to it, like not knowing how to untie knots that got created somewhere along the line. And technology is something I always had this idea that I'm just not good at that. That's, I have other features and things that I'm good at, but that's not, no. So I like to give that over to other people and to take care of. So I was, long story short, I felt that overwhelm this morning, and I knew by the signal that I had to set that aside. And I like called in universal intelligence. Hard to describe, how you function, but that's what it felt like. I just put my personal mind aside, whatever I'm going through in my personal life about this and anything else, because that was the other word, the list of priorities. There just seems to be a ton of things to tend to lately. So this list of priorities gets jumbled around ever so often. And I knew by the feeling, put it aside, call up to universal intelligence, and boom, there it was. It got me on my newsletter called Moose End, where things are, and I fell in love, literally, I fell in love with this program because I realized how many things it tells you just by spending, I think I spent maybe 15 minutes trying to unwrap this issue. I can't do it myself. I'm still depending on these other programs, Zapier and Podia. But the point is to go from feeling overwhelmed, not knowing what to do, and not being able to see a, a, a list of priorities, just having the feeling that, you're in the wrong space to find a solution, the space of the personal. So I said goodbye to that. And, you can't really describe what it is to just be open to, okay, what am I supposed to do? Boom, the answer came right away. And it was fun. That's the other thing that Sid said, right? I took notes while we were listening, and you're not supposed to do this, right? So my notes are, The second you realize it's thought, the second you realize it's thought, we can't make ourselves realize it's thought. But by coming into this conversation, or, um, you know, or any conversation around Sid and the principles, there's so many available to all of us. It's what reminds me more often and quicker. I'm sure of it. So I want to hear from the rest of you what you think about all that. That was a lot. Martine got to eat a lot. You have to unmute, or I'm going to keep talking. Martine, hi.
Hi.
It's been a while. How are you doing up in Montreal?
I'm not in
Or
Montreal.
Toronto, Ontario.
No, Ottawa. I'm in between those two
I knew
towns.
Canada. I knew the east coast of Canada. There's a lot of Canadian three principles people. Anyway, I'm stopping.
It's nice to notice. Sometimes I wish I noticed quicker. And it's easy also to say, oh, I should have known better. But I think some people, if I take clients, they think that once they see it, it should change in 30 seconds. No, they don't see it. And then, well, now that I see it, no, the weather will change right away. And it doesn't. And to be okay with that as well.
I love that. Yes, that's so true. But what a thrill when you do get woken up right away. What a thrill, because you're right, it doesn't happen all the time so rapidly. But whenever it happens, that we get woken up to the fact that we're in our personal thinking, whenever it happens, no matter how much time has lapsed, it's a gift. It's a gift. And I love what you said, Martine, about beating up on ourselves. It's really so easy to go into, well, shoot, I've been around this conversation for X number of months, years, whatever. I should know better. It doesn't work that way. Yeah, I remember you reminding me of when I first even learned about this way back in 1985, and I was a depressed person, though not medicated, or I was trying to fix myself. And what did I want to say about that? So as I'm learning and I'm seeing people around me changing, this dates back to when I was at the Institute in Florida. It would be so easy for me to say, geez, Lori, what's taking you so long? You're still going into these feelings of depression. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm really glad you brought that up, Martine. And it's so easy for us to think that we're to blame or we're doing something wrong. Man, whenever we wake up, I will really stand by this, to the fact that we're in our personal thinking. It is a blessing. Yeah. And not even in disguise. It's not a blessing in disguise, because you feel that feeling of blessing. Man, our operating system is like, wow. Like we humans get off on the operating system of airplanes and Man, I'm still trying to wrap my head around faxes.
And the universe has a way to whack us up. Not a gentle, sometimes it's a whack. I don't know, this summer I went for a little, not so little trip. And at one point, at a certain point, I was just not in a good mood. I was tired. Anyway, there was a couple of things going on at the same time. I walked 1,200 kilometers, so at the end I was a bit more tired, and I was not in a good mood, just not in a good mood. So past a certain point, there was lots of people, and for part of it, I was walking pretty much by myself, and then a bit more people, and then this last bit, there was lots of people. So all those tourists on my way, and then now being in the dorm for 2 freaking months, now you get a bit more and and I knew what was I knew because I was tired, lack of sleep, whatever. And also I saw DM coming, so probably why. And even though I was tired, I still liked the experience. And the universe whacked me in a sense, because all kinds of little shitty things happen just because of my bad mood. Right? Not big things, but just little more annoyances to add to my annoyances, right? And then it's, oh, I'm doing that to myself, really? That's what, no, just notice, oh yes, I'm a bad mood. No, it could be this and that, or the other that makes me, the fact is, no. And then by keeping that thought in my head, I knew better, but I still did it. and it says, oh, and the universe just little walks, no, wake up, girl. And oh yeah, okay, okay, let's come back. Let's come back. And yeah.
I love that. Oh my gosh. I love that the universe whacked me. I'm realizing that people listening and also even here, because I haven't seen you in so long, Martine, Wendy and Elaine may not know how we know each other. I met Martine in Peru in a program that Jack was doing called Inner Journeys, Inner Adventure, Outer Journey, something like that, because of somebody who read Jack's book, Somebody Should Have Told Us. And he runs these journeys, these adventures in Peru. So that's how I met Martine. How cool is that? What year was that? Pre-COVID.
Yeah, 2019,
Oh,
a year before COVID. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. 2019. Yeah. And so Martina is a three principles coach and you do other things as well, right? I mean, well, it's all with your understanding of the three principles, aside from being a mother to two boys.
They're adults, so I cannot.
Oh, they're not boys anymore.
They're not boys anymore.
They're always boys to a mother, though, right?
University. They have their own lives. They live with their girlfriends. They're adults.
Yeah, that must be a kick. Huh? So, how about Elaine? So you want to share with, because I don't know if you know Martine. I don't think Martine knows you if you want to share. But remember, it's recording, so everybody will hear. Everybody who listens. You have to unmute yourself.
Okay. Hello.
There you are. Hi.
Nice to meet you, Martine. I'm Elaine. I've been working with Lori for about a couple of years now, and have accepted the 3 principles into my life. And I came in because I had a lot of anxiety, and I have reduced anxiety now. And listening to Sid today talk about free will, it's interesting because the other day I was just saying to myself how my thoughts do not overpower me anymore, and how my personal thinking has changed when I start to feel that anxiety again, and I just say, go away, go away. I'm going to be okay. I don't have to overthink this.
Yeah, you were quite an overthinker.
Yes.
Martine, Elaine is a therapist, and she has been through, like, working at very, very difficult um, hospitals and clinics, and with really difficult populations. It's not and she's in private practice now for many years. Yeah.
Mhm. Yes, and I'm dealing with the client who only communicates via email. So I'm not doing any therapy with him. He's a father of the clients that I'm dealing with. And every time he would send me an email or communicate with me in the past, I would just get all worked up because, this is a person with a narcissistic personality. And he emailed me on last Monday with his request, and he didn't respond. He didn't even answer or respond after asking for recommendations. And I just wrote it off. I responded very kindly and professionally, but I'm not going to go overboard or work for something. I'm not getting paid, first of all. And then you got to wait until I'm ready. That's all there is to it.
Beautiful. Yeah.
And
I
in the
think we
past, I would have lost sleep. I would have starved myself because I would have gotten all worked up about this guy. And now, nothing, nothing. I'm perfectly fine.
I love that.
Yes.
Wendy's got a few of those stories too, huh? Oh, so Martine, do you know Wendy? Yeah, Wendy, you know
But we're in
Martine.
each other's circle. I see your posts and stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh, cool. So Wendy and I met like a month ago, and she lives in Massachusetts, which is one state away, an hour and a half away. I'll tell the story really quickly. This is how mind works. It's unbelievable. Do you want to tell the story, Wendy? Better for you to tell it. So Wendy is in Spain at the Sheila and Jack, not Viva, it was a seminar on perfecting deep listening. We're now calling it PDL. And Wendy from Massachusetts to Spain, big trip, really big trip. She is so turned on by this that she asked Sheila, can you come to Massachusetts and do this with Jack? Jack's already in Massachusetts. He's living there now. So Sheila said, well, okay. Sheila had a difficulty getting a visa. Well, she had some medical problems, then she had problems getting a visa. So she said, I can't do this in time for this program. The date was already set. So Jack says, well, Wendy, you want to check with Lori? I used to do deep listening with Lori for 5 different long-term trainings, 1 week and a month for 6 months back in the day. And so Wendy asked me, and I said, sign me up. I'd love to do that. I'd love to work with Jack again. Because, Jack's been in retirement. his story that he keeps getting pulled out because it's too much fun doing this. It's too much. It's more fun than retirement, put it that way. So, or as fun as retirement. So that's our history. That's how I met Wendy in the seminar I did with Jack. And it was great. Yeah, 24 people from all over the right? Wendy, you're muted.
Yeah, I think I was doing the math yesterday, 21 people, and the three of us would make 24.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 21 people came from, one lady came from the United Kingdom, and a lot of people, probably 4 or 5 from a 4-hour drive to Massachusetts. But the rest of the people took took planes to get to the workshop. So that was great. Yeah.
Yeah, Oregon. I mean, some of them had family or they had other people to spend time with after or before us.
Yep.
But one person who came from Oregon came just for the program.
Mhm.
I mean, yeah,
Yep.
wow.
Yep. So that's how we met. So yeah. So we're doing some things together now, Lori and I. Um, so that's been a helpful thing. And in regard to the Sid video just now, when I really like to listen to Sid, and then I'm usually I'm sure if somebody put a monitor on me, they'd hear my heartbeat going very slowly and my breath going very slowly. So it's very hard for me to jump up and start chit-chatting. So I need to, well, I don't need to, but I enjoy letting it marinate quietly. So thank
Yeah,
you
and
for
that's
that.
why I stopped and I said, if any Wendy, turn your sound off.
Yeah, but I
And
missed your
if anyone,
story, so I don't know what you said. So I'll listen to the recording because I was being quiet, so I didn't hear your story. So what was I gonna say? Oh, what struck me in the Sid video today was or I didn't even watch it, I was just listening, was how clearly I heard today that you don't need to worry about mind. If you're awake and listening to me, mind is at work in your life. You don't need to worry about consciousness because it's awareness. And obviously you're aware of something because you wouldn't be paying attention to me on this video or audio. And thought is really the rudder. And I heard Elaine speak about it so clearly. Using that rudder, say, stop heading into the storm, adjust the rudder, and go that way, go that way. Or maybe take my hand off the rudder and just sit in the middle of the ocean for a while.
Mhm.
And there was just something very helpful, very, very helpful as I go about teaching mental well-being, as I go about coaching resiliency as a nurse. I very rarely say the 3 principles, Sid Banks, mind, consciousness, and thought. And, I might say new paradigm. I might say inside out thinking, but I don't typically, because I don't want to get into the weeds I can get
with
stuck
the
in my
intellect.
head about that.
Mhm.
But I say these words, I'm very, and so let me also give a parallel conversation. I'm a nurse and I work full time right now for a pain doctor. And the main thing that we do in our pain team is work with the person's own stem cells to heal up arthritis and to heal up torn or broken tissue. And on a daily basis, people will say, well, I'm 55, I'm 65, I'm 85. Shouldn't I get stem cells that come from newborn babies, placenta? And I will say to them these words: if your stem cells weren't working well, you would not be talking to me on the phone. Your stem cells work beautifully. And there may not be 5 million like you were when you were a baby, but the 10,000 that you got now are much more familiar with your body than that baby's.
That's beautiful.
Well, oh, I'm glad you think it's beautiful, but it's true. It's science. We're not talking about putting another protein into somebody else's body and possibly having a reaction. We're talking about the fact that our stem cells are an innate part of our, that's how we thrive and function. But you, me, very rarely does anybody think about their own stem cells. I wonder what they're doing now. I wonder if they're helping me breathe. I wonder if they're helping me think. I wonder if they're repairing the sore that's in my left cheek from biting my turkey sandwich yesterday. I wonder. We don't wonder. We just, the
Go
body's
with the flow.
working. And so I don't have to talk about mind with clients. I don't have to talk about consciousness with clients because they wouldn't be talking to me on a Zoom or a phone call without those two. Those are already tucked in, and where they're getting lost or into a mishigas is with thinking and thought. And if they knew that their hand was on the rudder, and most of the time, our hand doesn't really have to even be on the rudder. Once we've learned to trust that we're sailing on a very kind ocean, a divine, as Mavis Karn says, divine design,
Exactly.
we really don't have to even put our hand on the rudder. But in our early days, like Elaine, you just said it so beautifully. I've been working with Lori a year and a half, 2 years. I was quite the overthinker. And now I go, and you said with this client, it's not even an issue. It's not that you're trying to say, oh, I better, okay, I know that I'm overthinking. Okay, I'm overthinking. I'm gonna not worry so much about this email or lack of an email or the father or the son. You're not even trying anymore.
Nope.
And it didn't even take Elaine a year and a half,
Right.
because
right.
Elaine has just been coming to mystery school.
So it's the
So
thinking.
she picked up pretty quick, yeah. Well, she
Mhm.
also did a lot of reading of Sid, and right,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yes.
Saying that, and what comes to my mind is that is their thinking that put them in that situation in the first place.
Mhm.
You cannot have arthritis without anger.
Right.
I have also a degree in health science, but I did lots of regression to cause. And you cannot have arthritis without anger.
Mhm.
And I was wondering if they're doing something, because they would say, oh yes, the treatment didn't work. Well, it didn't work because the emotion was still there.
Mm.
So I was
What do you mean,
wondering, do
the
they
stem
do
cell
something
treatment?
about the emotion on top of?
Well,
Is there something about
I
3D,
don't
about whatever?
I don't typically, because with my nurse hat on and reading the journals, etc., arthritis is very, very normal. If you've been upright, carrying your body weight on your knees and your hips and your ankles, there, give me a moment.
One
There
of my
is,
teacher was a nurse practitioner, nurse anesthetist. And let's say back pain, we all upright. And if we take a scan to each of one of our back, we all have issues on our back. But why does it hit Joe and not Jeanette? Is our way of dealing with our thoughts, the way of dealing with our
no,
emotions.
I completely agree. The mind-body connection is completely integrated and strong. So I say that to patients every day too. If you were to take a let's say somebody's complaining about hip pain, they have arthritis in their hip and they can't move and they want to ski and they can't ski and they're only 60 and they're miserable and they want to ski, blah, blah, blah. I will say to them, you might notice that there are other 60-year-old people on the mountain with you skiing and they're not complaining. And you might notice that there are 50-year-old people who are miserable with it. So I don't often say it's your anger that got you the arthritis, but I will say that there's natural wear and tear, but not everybody feels it. So that if you were to x-ray everybody on the mountain that's 60 years old or over, you're going to see arthritis in everybody's hip. You're going to see natural wear and tear in everybody's hip because they've been upright on their knees, on their hips, holding their body weight since they were 1. It's very natural to have arthritis or wear and tear in the joint, but it may not be that natural to have it subjectively pain you and hold you back. So to your point, Dr. Sarno, the back pain guy, says that you x-ray everybody in the world, you're going to see blown discs everywhere. And those guys are out, whatever, being pogo stick champions, some, and some hurt. So it's not always completely physical pathology. I agree with you. And there is something to be said when we put our own body's natural healing system, our own stem cells, into an arthritic hip. Within a couple of months, the person's going, I feel so much better. They are harnessing their own body's natural ability to heal. We no longer have to cut the joint out with blood and saws and hammers and glue and put in fake metal and make a new joint. That's not the only game in town. So it's very similar to, oh, you're upset? Let's go cut out that part of your life and examine it very closely and go back in therapy and blah blah blah. No, there's already a system in place. All we have to do is get some of your stem cells over there and it'll take care of itself.
Or
All we have
all
to
we
do
have
is
to
redirect
do
the
is
rudder.
understand the mental system. That's a great metaphor for just having an understanding of how we work.
Right, exactly.
You're right.
And so this person say, oh, it's normal to have arthritis when I'm 55, 60 by x-ray to see wear and tear. It doesn't look like a 30-year-old joint. It looks like a 60-year-old joint. Yes, that's very normal. But that doesn't mean that everybody who has that much deterioration or natural age relate. I mean, I've got wrinkles. I can see them right here on Zoom. I didn't used to have those. Age happens. Bodily changes happen.
Mhm.
And I'm not sad that I have wrinkles. I'm not going to run out and go get Botox because I need my face to look like this. I don't need to do that. But there are some people who want to play around with the system of aging and try to be different. That's just not me. But their misery, that's a whole thought related process too. I mean, we're going off in 5 different tangents. But basically what I'm saying is I hadn't really realized 2 important things until the last couple of weeks. How much my day-to-day life as a nurse working with stem cells had so much synchronicity with the power of the mind.
Bill Pettit.
I've been saying the same things.
Yeah,
With
exactly.
different words to different people for different reasons. And now I can see them as being very synchronous. And what I heard from Sid today was, don't worry about mind. It's obviously at work. Don't worry about awareness. It's obviously at work. But the rudder of thought is where we have been conditioned to go off the rails.
Free will versus conditioning. That would be a whole hour in itself, right? I'm looking at the time. Wow, it sure flies, doesn't it? I know, Martine, that you have a short period of time here, and that's why we went right into sharing insights. So is there anything before, because we're at the top of the hour in 10 minutes, as they say in Europe, at the top of the hour. So is there anything that I'll just say this, when what Wendy was saying, Bill Pettit says the same thing about how, wow, first of all, how divine mind works through our system, physical, mental, it's all one energy.
Mhm.
And understanding how that energy works through us is a game changer. It is a game changer. We still may have arthritis, hearing loss like I do, but the system shows us that it doesn't mean it's bad or wrong. it just is, like Sid says, the isness and the allness, which, I'm still wanting to understand more about that. And we're always understanding more, like the insight I talked about earlier. I knew, I knew as far as I knew that we feel what we think. And when it feels bad, I've got to step out of my personal thinking and open up for divine intelligence to be able to come through and guide me. To Wendy's point, I don't have to know. I don't have to know what's next on my agenda through my personal thinking, because my personal thinking won't come up with the best solution. I could write lists, I could, number them, priorities, and then something else happens in life. When I realize I'm like in my head numbering and prioritizing and like overthinking, ooh, that feeling says step aside, let divine intelligence guide you. That's the rudder that Wendy was referring to. Yeah. Woo. So, we have more time, a little more time, but I don't want to forget to thank you for coming on with me, because I'll tell you, when this thing happened about a half an hour before we were coming on, and I cleared my Lori mind out of the way, and I'm thinking, oh, I get to share this with my people in, a short time. So thank you all for coming on. Yeah. Woo! So,
Welcome.
I'll look forward to listening to the recording.
yeah, I'm glad that you were able to shut your hearing down. That's one of the reasons we record it, because sometimes it just gets too much, and we want, especially after listening to Sid. I love starting off with 10 minutes or less. I didn't play the whole 10 minutes, by the way, because I was just aware of the fact that we only have an hour.
Yeah.
Wanted to
In
make
my
sure.
in my SidVid videos that I did during the pandemic with friends, it just was an evolution. It just, anyway, several of us from the UK and me decided to listen to 10 minutes of a Sid video, and like you, 10, 12 minutes, whatever, and I would just shut it off. And sometimes there would be no verbalization by anybody for 20 minutes. We might just sit there marinating. So after 32 minutes, somebody might say, well, what really struck me was, it didn't happen every time, but I didn't, there was no, we just assumed we were listening to a Sid talk in the room. And whenever anybody wanted to put up their hand and say something, but we just let it be whatever it was. Yeah.
Well, in the service to people who come on who have paid for an hour, I would say to people,
Oh yeah, that makes difference. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say to people, if you want quiet time, then listen to the video, and I will post it. This is a good point, Wendy, that you bring up. I will post every week where we're at as far as, I want to go through the list, beginning with the Washington lectures, and just because
Yeah.
he talks about, the basics there of the three principles. And so then people who, have a time crunch, like Martine was saying, that they could listen to 10 minutes and then have quiet time before coming on with us at 12 noon. Yeah.
Yeah, that could work. I'm not demanding quiet time. I'm just sharing that
Yeah.
when we did this, and this wasn't paid, this wasn't a coaching program, this was just friends getting together and using the Sid
Right.
videos. And so the approach was, let's play it, and we just
Yeah, so that's a great
Let
thing
the
to point
spirit
out.
move. We let the spirit move. I guess that's how I'd say it.
Yeah.
As a good
So
Christian girl from
those
Boston.
folks who want to go about it that way,
Yeah.
you know, I want to give everybody enough time because sometimes we get 5 people or more on
Yeah.
the screen. I want to make sure everybody gets, you know, at least 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's
So
cool.
if there's 5 times 10, that's already,
Yeah.
and then my big mouth when I have to go zip it, lock it, and put it in your pocket. I learned that from a 13-year-old. I love that saying. Zip it, lock it, put it in your pocket.
Oh, there you go. That's cute.
It's really cute. Yeah.
Elaine, your screen is lit up. Do you want to share something?
I don't know why. No, I'm good.
It's like Hollywood Squares, right?
Yeah, really.
That
Yeah,
the
really. Hey,
screen,
Martine, where do you live in Canada, Martine?
Ottawa.
Yeah, near
Oh.
Ottawa.
That's that. Yeah, that's.
I'm not that far from you guys. It's driving distance. So,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ottawa.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know my Canadian landscape as much as I thought I did. Okay. I was wondering about that, because we're gonna have Sheila come. Lori and I are gonna have Sheila come next spring. Masan, do you know Sheila, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I've been
Yeah.
to Viva and yeah. So.
Oh, please. I'm so sad that I didn't get to Viva. Because I went
This
to
year
the
I didn't
one.
go because of my, I was 2 months walking. I just came back.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
That
yeah.
was amazing. You want to
I
share
couldn't
that?
justify
What did you
for
do? Did
Viva.
you do the camp, the whatever in Spain?
I did 2 Caminos. I did the second half of Le Puy-en-Velay, the Via Podiensis, because I'd started the Via Podiensis last year from Caen to Caen, and this year I went from Caen to Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port and then carry on the Camino Frances.
Oh, lovely.
So it's
Did you
like-
get to that church at the very end of the El Camino that has the giant incense ball?
Yes, yes, yes.
Oh.
That's the end point. Yes, yes. And
Oh.
it did the Fumador or something like that. It did swing. It did
Yes.
swing.
Oh,
I
I
was
really want to
making
see that.
videos every day, every 2-3 days of what I saw on
Oh.
and pictures of what I saw on.
Is that on your Facebook page?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna go look.
But like I
Because-
said, I started like most people start at Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port. So, but I started way over in France. And end up
Lovely.
at that big
Martine,
Fumador. And it did swing. It doesn't swing every time.
No.
But
The only reason I know about that is from watching that movie called The Way with
yes, yeah.
yeah, that's the only reason. Who's in that?
Martin Sheen.
Martin Sheen. Did you see that
And it's
movie?
the
Elaine?
director is Emilio Estevez, his
It's
son.
called The Way.
Yeah.
And
they're
it's-
doing they're doing a sequel.
Oh, are they?
Oh.
Yeah.
They're
So
doing
it's
a
Martin
sequel.
Sheen and one of his sons, Emilio Estevez,
Yeah, he's the one
are
who's
in this
directing.
movie,
Yeah.
and they play father and son in the movie. And I won't go
Martine,
in.
can you tell us how many miles? I
Yeah.
mean, kilometers. I don't know how to,
Well,
multiply
from Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port
kilometers.
to that big swinging thing, it's 500 miles. And I started 3 weeks before that. So I did 3 more weeks of walking. So that must have been another 200 miles.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Yeah.
Wow. How
Yeah.
many
That
miles
was
a
good walk.
day?
And
And
next
it's
year I
not
might
all
do another
flat.
one. Pardon?
It's
How many
not
miles
all
a day?
flat.
No, nothing is
No.
flat. Let me tell you, nothing is flat. And you do it with your backpack on, no, everything that you have. So
That's beautiful. That's
I
beautiful.
did that in the Himalayas.
yeah,
I
I
did
did Everest
5
Base Camp. Which
up
one
to
did you
10.
do? Annapurna or the base camp?
No, I just did it with 2 other women. Wendy, they were both nurses in
Oh,
Saudi
yeah?
Arabia. Yeah, we should get together and just talk about our history sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean,
Where did you
yeah,
Martine was wondering where you started from in the Himalayas. Was it a base
we
camp?
started from Delhi because we thought we were going to have an audience with the Dalai Lama. and I ended in Kathmandu. But we were in northern India. Southern India is supposed to be gorgeous with beaches and all, but we started in Delhi and ended in Delhi. And then when I went
Wow.
on to Kathmandu, I
okay.
mean, yeah,
Because I did the
1994.
Everest base camp when I turned 50. I was
Oh, wow.
yeah, and I turned 60 during my walk this summer.
Nice. That's great.
So yeah,
That's great.
yeah, I was going to say something, but yes, it's an exercise in you see mind, body, and thought, and mind consciousness really in motions during those.
Where are you walking next?
Oh, there's so many caminos, and what I'm missing is Le Puy-en-Velay, Le Puy to Conques. And I was thinking of starting from Geneva, because all people from Eastern Europe in the olden days went through this Via Genevensis that goes from Geneva to the Puy-en-Velay, and then they went down the Puy-en-Velay. So I might do another 550 kilometers.
Do you do this alone?
Yes.
And you meet people along the way. I have another friend from my days in college who's done sections of the El Camino alone.
You're
Wow.
not really alone. If
Yeah,
I do
there's
the
people
Geneva to
all
the
over.
Puy-en-Velay, I'll probably pretty much alone. Because it's not as the French says it, from Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port to the big swinging thing. Santiago, it's very popular, it's the most known one because of the way so there's lots of people, so you're not really alone. The Portuguese, the one that lots of people start from Porto. So because there's lots of people living from Porto to get there, you're alone, but you're not really alone
And that's when you really hear universal mind. Michael Fall did a wonderful post about that in the coaching roundtable this morning. Check it out. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going back to Sid because I need to leave. Very often I fall asleep listening to Sid.
Mhm.
I need to go now. Have a good
Me
day,
too.
everyone.
Me
Oh,
too.
Martine,
Most
it was so
often I'm
great to
asleep,
see
yeah.
you.
Good to meet
Thanks for
you.
joining us. Come again soon.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Au revoir. Okay. It's 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew she was going to have to leave on the hour.
Yeah.
So any last minute comments? Should I stop the recording?
We'll see everybody Saturday.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll see you on Saturday.
Yeah.